Okay, welcome back to our learning of Pirkei Avot of Ethics of Our Fathers. We are in the 17th Mishnah, just two more to go of this chapter, and then we are done with the first chapter. There's 6 chapters in on Pirkei Avos. So we're talking to Shimon Beno. So this Shimon, his son, i.e. Rabbi Gamliel's son, used to say, Kol yemei gadalti ben hachachamim, that all my days I grew up around these sages, around these very wise people. Velo matzati leguf tov ela shtika, and I have found nothing better for a person than to be in silence. Velo hamidrash hu ha'ikar, and that study is not the most important thing. Ele hamaise, rather your actions are more important. V'chol hamar b'dvarim mavi chet, and whoever indulges in too many words brings about sin. So we're again dealing with 3 different ideas. I'm going to break each one of them down. So the first one is that there's nothing better than silence. This also goes on to what we learned a little bit earlier. But overall, if we value silence, if we value, it's not a notion of isolating ourselves, rather, but being mindful that we have the ability to learn. And if we ever open our mouths, we could jeopardize our own reputation. It could lead us to sin. We could be continue the conversation of something that was really meaningful in advance, and overall ended up being not as meaningful, not as productive. There's just an amazing story that I enjoy telling from Aryeh Lightstone's book, Let My People Know. He discusses what the process in achieving peace in the Middle East, and sitting down with all these variety of diplomats, and they're all ordering dinner, and they all order the steak except one person. One person orders the fish. So naturally, why would you ever order the fish when you can order a steak? So a lot of his peers end up mocking him slightly, saying, "Why is it you ordered the fish? There's so many better things on the menu." And he said, "Because when I look down at the fish, I'm reminded what had got him on the plate by opening his mouth, by making a mistake, and I'm not going to make such a mistake." So it's a great story, great book, highly recommend it. But that idea that the silence can sometimes very much be better than feeling the need to discuss, to make ourselves known. Rather, to just be silent, it can serve you. It can certainly serve you well. And study is the most important thing. Certainly that our sages valued Torah learning, and they were known for their Torah learning, but it has to result in action, right? We aren't just the people who sit by our books all day. Rather, we need to internalize what we're learning, and it needs to change us. It needs to actively better ourselves, better the people around us, better our greater community. And that's something that we should be doing. And whoever indulges in too many words brings about sin. So the Rambam, Maimonides, perhaps one of the most well-known sages of all his work of Mishnah Torah, categorizes speech in 5 different ways. And he says we're gonna identify the appropriate way to be speaking, and then you can identify whether or not you should be talking or you shouldn't to. And he said the first thing is the easiest. It's like the good type of speech. It's teaching, it's for the sake of mitzvot, it helps people, things like that. The second one is going to be prohibited forms of speech, also very easy to identify. It's lying, it's gossip, it's false testimony, saying something that's not true. And that's very easy for us to identify. So that's number 2. Number 3 is going to be a very low level of speech, and there's no value to what you're saying. It's idle speech. It's the equivalent of talking about the weather once the day's already done. There's no value in telling somebody that it rained. All right, if you're telling somebody in advance that, oh, it's going to rain, bring a jacket, that might be a little bit more productive. But this is very low level. It offers no value to anyone's life. It's nothing bad, but no insight is gained by doing so. The fourth one is beloved speech, as he determines it, and it's very much about moral instruction, how to uplift others, how to make others feel better. You can share stories of role models that makes you feel inspired, that makes you better, that allows you to learn. And that's beloved speech. It helps us grow. It might not be so instructive with regards to mitzvot or action, but it's a more feel-good type of element of speech. And the last one is the 5th one, which is permitted speech. So it's useful in pursuing your career, in your profession, in your livelihood. It guides us in social etiquette and allows us to be socially proficient. But it isn't necessarily valuable to who you are. If you were to recall all the conversations you had in work, you would probably not recall all of them to your loved ones at home, saying it's really important that you know this too. It's for the sake of your job. If you weren't working there, you would never talk about it. So that's what's permitted speech. So the Rambam breaks it down in 5 different ways for us to be mindful how to speak the best possible way. Looking forward to learning with you tomorrow.